And we are live. Welcome, coaches. How are y'all doing today? Hope you're having a great Thursday. Hope everything is working out with you. And I hope you want to talk some option ball because today I'm with Coach Knutson. I said it right, didn't I? If I
Yep.
didn't, punch me in the face. And we're going to be talking about all things option. So before we dive into it and before we do something that we've never done before, and I'll get to that in a minute, Coach, could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yep. I'm Coach Knutson. I live in Detroit Lakes, Minnesota. I played football here and started coaching here, and then been coaching and helping my friend out in California the last 7 years now. So
Okay. And how did that come about? Because that's something you don't hear that often. You know, you're in Minnesota, but you're helping in California. Walk us through that and how you're now coaching in like three different spots.
yeah. So I started volunteer coaching here at my high school in Detroit Lakes. But first, I met my best friend now. He was looking for players and coaches for semi-pro team that he started here in Detroit Lakes. So I answered the call and started coaching with him, and I kind of got the confidence to coach. And my high school, one of my high school coaches that I played for, actually asked if I wanted to coach. So I did that for 6 years, and then my best friend moved out to California. So then the first season he did without me, he got a head coaching job out there. And so then the following year, I was able to move out there with him for a season. And then through Huddle, I've been able to coach through Huddle and do all of his film breakdown and all the scouting and stuff on Huddle, and just communicate email and sending screenshots back and forth and talking to him every week. So
That is freaking awesome. And you've installed. You said you've done this for California,
yep,
Oregon, and Minnesota.
yep,
And what we're going to do is I want to dive into the option. And also, guys, if you have any questions, what we're going to do today is we're actually going to take calls online. That is right. We're going to bring your beautiful face in. You're going to be able to ask questions, and we're going to answer them all on the Showcast. This is something that I've never done before. So this could be, pardon my French, a complete shit show. But we will. It'll be a complete shit show for all of us. All right. So my very first thing, Coach, is why the option? You have a lot of teams that want the wing tee. You have a lot of
yep.
teams that throw the ball. Why did you go, you know what? I want to do the option.
So growing up, my high school won 4 state championships. I was part of one of them. We won 12 section championships. I was part of 2 of those, and we ran split back veer. So I've been running split back veer 7th grade all the way to 12th grade. So veer's been in my blood since day one. And then when I started actually coaching, then they switched from, because we didn't really have the tight ends. So then we switched to flex bone. So we ran midline and veer out of flex bone under center. And then we switched to a gun because of our quarterback situation. And we still ran midline and veer out of gun a little bit, and some dart and some other stuff like that. So when I met my friend out there, I knew what kind of offense we had. And so we put it all together through the clinics and stuff, and running it out of gun. It just made a lot more sense for us because it allows you a lot more freedom with your formations.
Okay, so dive into that. Why does it give you more freedom from the shotgun than from the split back veer or the flex bone?
So split back veer for us, we only ran one formation, the double tight end with the flanker. And then, when we wanted to pass the ball, we'd go into just pro. And I know some other split back veer teams will go into, some twins, as their one, but that's basically it, unless you do a bunch of unbalanced stuff. Flex bone, with having legal formations, the way we ran it, we only had 4 formations when we ran out of flex bone. And so for us, like my head coach, he is from a passing tree, that he had a passing tree. So he was all about passing and kind of the pro system. So, his offense went under center and from the gun. So, and then we just switched everything from gun because of the footwork for the quarterback, so much easier out of gun compared to, especially under center split back veer. You got to be really precise on your footwork, and you're going to spend a lot of time doing that. So,
So you went to the shotgun because of the footwork. What's the difference?
So footwork for us is just step forward and hinge to the read. That's all that we do for midline, inside veer, and outside veer, and our quick trap option. It's all the same footwork. There's
So,
no
okay.
like going to A gap, and having it B, and then having one for C, and having to change it up based on if you're calling dive or inside veer or outside veer. It's all the same. It simplifies it.
Speaking my language, I love simplifying things because that's what it is, and that's something I've noticed with option teams. Midline footwork, that's something totally different than from inside veer, and then inside veer footwork is totally different from outside veer. You have to do different things and everything like that, and that's where the bulk of your practice time it comes, because you need to rep that down. So you're saying you don't have to spend that much time in the shotgun that you do in under center.
Correct, which is what I've known. So
Okay.
yeah,
All right.
and then like for your dieback, midline and inside veer, he aims at the center's butt. There's no aiming at this left, lift left foot or this right foot, depending on if it's inside veer or outside veer, depending on if it's a 2 technique or a 4 technique or a 6. It doesn't matter. We aim at the center's butt. We picked it up from Tony DeMail. So if it's an odd front, slide and glide. If it's not there, and even front, you're just running straight up the middle. So that simplifies it for their dieback too.
Now, are you using the same motion as the flex bone? Or are you going no motion? Like the veer didn't have any motion, right? It was just straight up set
So
go.
our motion is based on the defense. So if they blitz motion, then we're just going to sit in 2 back formations, like a pro, like a split back pro. Maybe flex a tight end, maybe go twins, stuff like that. We won't run a lot of our single back stuff then. And then if they like to roll their coverage, with it, then we're not really getting an advantage. But then you got that twirl motion that, you can go right back where you just came from, and they're going to roll their coverage away from it. And so that's why formations and that kind of stuff really gives you an advantage, because we can hit them from all sorts of sides. And then with our motion too, we have a whole entire sweep series with 2 option plays out of sweep. So our motion backs aim right at that center or at that quarterback's hip, and they're not going to know if he's going front or back. So there's no tell on our motion, so they're not going to know. So if they see motion, they got 6 different plays coming at them,
And they have to worry about all 6 of them.
Exactly.
I like that. All right, Johnny, what's going on? How you doing? And Coach says, so shotgun is cheating a tad bit. And Coach, I say this, if you're not cheating, you're not trying. And that is such a good thing. Flooring good. Yeah. Coaches, if you're watching on Facebook, right above it is a link. Click it. Let StreamYard have access so we can see your face. And also, what I'm doing is I'm putting this in chat right here. If you want to jump on and call in and ask your question, go ahead and freaking do it. This is history in the making right now. Coach has his Huddle account pulled up so we can actually watch film of this. Come on in and get your question asked. So right off the bat right now, Coach Zach wants to know, how would you change the option blocking assignments when going from a 5-man surface to a 6-man surface, specifically with the tight end as a wing?
Okay, so you're gonna have to help me with 5-man and 6-man surface, because you're gonna have to explain that to me. I know that you guys talk about that. I should tell you that my system is 1 and 2. I worry about the first defender and the second defender. That's it.
All right, so who is your first defender and who is your second defender?
So okay, let's go for midline. My rules are, if the count starts on the guard, that's 1. That's our read guy, and we're kicking out number 2. So, and then I have the if and thens. I learned that from being in the Facebook groups from coaches. You got to have the if and then. So if the first defender's in the A gap, whether it's 1 technique or 2I, we audible the outside veer. And if the second defender's happens to be in a 4I, no matter what play we have called, we just go to speed option. We're just gonna wipe him down, pitch off whoever's not there. So that's our if and thens with that. So like inside veer, we're gonna read 1. Again, the count's gonna start on the guard. And so we're gonna read 1 and pitch off a 2. So we're gonna leave both defenders on the line of scrimmage alone, and we're hitting second level. And then outside veer, we're going to block 1, read 2, and pitch off a 3, rather it be the safety or the corner, whoever we take.
So your adjustment to a 4-eye, which gives a lot of teams headaches, is just saying, piss on it. We're just going to wash you down, and we're going to play off the next man automatically, whatever you have called.
Automatically, yep. Because they're basically out of their call is going to be sweep, and that's what we want to. Then it's okay. But I mean, another play that would give us problems too is counter, and so then again, just go to speed option.
Okay.
So I mean, that's our. And so then if you're in a 2-back, then it comes lead option. If it's a 1-back, speed option. So it's really simple. If the quarterback makes the audible, all he's got to know is who's in the backfield with him to make the adjustment.
Nice. So, and it's Coach David, we just had you on. I was about to bring you on to get your question asked. Go ahead and hit it back up. I promise you guys, what you do is I'm dropping the link in the chat again. It's the StreamYard link. Go ahead, put it in. If you want to come on, you'll come up at the bottom of my screen. I'm about to bring you on, and you can ask your question. So I have another one. How many formations? Because you said you went in the shotgun because it helps with the formations. How many formations do you take it? Do you do like my man Roger Holmes, who has like 872,512 formations, or do you just have a handful of formations? What's your philosophy on the formations?
Yeah, we have about 50 that we carry, and then we use on average 14 in game. That's from what I've gone back and looked through all my notes. I've counted them all up, and yeah, we use about 14 in game. But sometimes a lot of our formation changes for us is just moving the Y around. So the tight end, whether he's on the line of scrimmage, if he's 1-by-1, if he's flexed out, those are all 3 different adjustments we can do just by moving him around. The backfield doesn't have to change. So, just by moving the tight end around, that gives you 3 formations right there. Moving the back to the weak side. So that's going to change all of our motions up and who's carrying the ball. To me, that's a formation adjustment. That's a change, having the back weak or strong, because that changes a lot of stuff. That's going to tell our guys if we're going to run twirl motion. If now the dieback's probably not going to get the ball, he'll be the lead guy, and our motion guys going to be getting the football. So all that matters. So I consider that's why we have so many, but it's simple variations.
All right, because I was going to say, if you put a gun to my head and you go, Coach McKie, come up with 14 formations, I'm just going to tell you to go ahead and pull the trigger, because there's no way I can think of 14 formations. That is freaking incredible. All right. We got some coaches in the chat. What's up, ROA? How you doing, man? Nice info. Again, if you're on Facebook, go ahead, click the link above, give StreamYard access so that we can see your beautiful face and that it just doesn't say Facebook user. Austin, what's going on? How you doing? Coach said, is there an apex defender assignment to the quarterback? Is it always a give or run on the speed option?
So that would be,
if there's an apex defender assigned to the quarterback, is it always a give or run more speed option?
What does it mean by always a give, though?
I don't know, Coach. Could you go ahead and you know what? If you want to, Coach, here is the link. Jump on and actually ask your question live on the air, and we can get a better quality. What I want to know, though, is, and this is something I've always wanted to pick the brains of an option coach, when you are preparing for your opponent, you see a lot of junk defenses. I'm sure. I don't know which one gets more junk defenses, either the flex bone or the wing tee. But how do you go about practicing that just in case, something happens and during the game? Because I know when we play, we throw a lot. So if we're preparing for a 3-man front and all of a sudden they're coming out of a 4-man front, that kind of throws us off. Is that the same thing with y'all? Like, okay, we're going to be preparing for a 4-2, and then they come out with some kind of 3-3 stack and they blitz everything. Does that adjust how you call games, or are you just like, F it, we know what we're doing and this is what we're going to do?
So the big thing for us, might as well not even look at the coverage, because we're going to get 0 or 1. So it doesn't matter if they're running zone, they will not run zone against us. We learned that really fast. Some teams did change their defenses a little bit, but for us, it's, an even front. So let me put it in the simplest way. All we need to know is if we need to bring a tight end on the line of scrimmage or not. That's basically what it comes down to. If they got 7 in the box, we need 6 on the line. If they're going to be in a 4-2, we only need 5, and we got the numbers. So for us, we're just looking to see if we need to bring a tight end, and that's our big adjustment in the game. So we're, instead of being in 2x2, we're going to be 2x2 with the tight end on line of scrimmage. So that's in essence a simple, easy adjustment. And then we practice with the players. We'll go a full day without the tight end, and then the next practice when I'm going through installing the run or when we're practicing a run plays, I'll bring the tight end over because that changes a lot of our blocking, having the tight end with us or without. So
okay, so you go through like one day you go, okay, guys, we're not using tight ends. We're just going our straight normal, what, 3x1, 2x2. Do you go any empty with motions coming back or?
No, we haven't done that. No, our empty is basically a screen and a few roll up passes out of empty for us.
All right, so 2x2, 3x1, that's it. And then the next day you're like, you know what, guys, now is this, you're bringing the Y, is this a whole new player or is your slot receiver also putting his hand down?
No, for us, our Y is our tight end, and he does everything. He'll be in a 3-point, a 2-point, wherever we move him. The nice thing is with us, with all of our 50 formation, our personnel never changes. We always have the X, Y, Z, and the W and the S. The S is always aligned with the Y, so that S and W, one guy could be the die back, one guy might not be, another guy be the motion guy. So with all those formations, but our personnel never changes, which is really nice about this system. The players just, once you're in your position, you know what you got to do and where you got to line up.
All right, walk us through it. So if we start from left to right,
Mm-hmm.
what kind of quality kid are you looking at at each position?
That's a tough question because we just take what we get. It says, it's high school.
All right, so you got it. Like, but you have a prototype. Like, okay, if I have a fast guy, I want him at the slot. If I have like a big bruising back,
yeah.
I want him at the running back. Who is that kind of?
Yeah, our running back. When I've had other coaches ask me, I usually tell them your guy that's got the best vision. Because the read that cutback is going to help your lineman and you out a lot. The first year we installed this, we had a running back with great vision, great speed. We averaged 10.4 yards a carry. We went to another school and we're at like 7, but they probably only hit cutback maybe 20% of the time, where the other kid was, between 60 and 80% of the time because he could see that cutback and how that hole being there. So, and then your faster guy was definitely our motion back. That helps out a whole bunch, having that kid be able to fly, because sometimes he's going to carry it. Sometimes when you get the pitch, he's going to get it and just go. And then wide receivers, basically guys that just, for me, it's just can catch, because if we're going to throw the ball, the few times we do, we just need completions or else it doesn't do us any good to throw it.
So how often in a game, how many plays do you normally or typically run, and how many of those are actually passes?
So we're 80% run. When I did the math on our 3 seasons that we had 3 varsity seasons, full seasons, it was 80% run, 20% pass. And we're about
80-20 rule. Look at that. Hey, look at that, coaches. I talk about it all the time. The 80-20 rule. I love it.
So we're just, we're not throwing the ball. We're running. But yeah, we literally had one game where we threw 2 passes all game. And
they were for 2 touchdowns, right?
the one was actually the running back to the quarterback. We went a little wildcat, and we ended up rushing for 620 yards. Jesus. On 11, almost 12 yards of carry. So yeah,
I like how no one really cares about the 12 yards of carry. It's more like, good God, 600 yards.
We did that back to back. The following week in the playoff game, we rushed for 619 and 7 touchdowns, and still managed to lose the playoff game.
Okay, so what was that? That's incredible. I will like this. I'm just going to point that out. I do like that. One of the main criticisms of throwing the ball is like, you get in those shootouts and everything, that if you run the ball, you control the game. It happens to everything. It's just high school football.
Exactly. It
is high school football. I have literally been a part of games where we threw the ball 50 times, didn't have any interceptions, no turnovers or anything. We played wing teams and they had 6 fumbles.
Yeah.
And it's just nuts. So it does happen. I want to go back to the vision. Do you think it's just innate? Like there's just a guy that has vision, or can you coach and teach the vision of the back?
We kind of use a saying, like, it's kind of a funny saying, but it's like you got your girlfriend over here and she's like, safe, and you can always hit this one, but you might want to be looking, backside to see what else is out there. And that's kind of the analogy we use, but some kids bite it and learn it, and some don't. So that's kind
Yeah,
of
it's like always
the
keep your eyes open, man. You're in high school. You don't need to get tied down.
yeah. That's kind of the
Something may pop open on that backside.
you might have something to relate to the kids, right?
Exactly, and they remember that.
Yeah. So that's something we always have fun with. But we never had that cutback until we went. Me and my head coach, we were actually at the same coaching clinic down in Minnesota and saw Tony DeMeo. So that was a life changer for us. We changed a lot of our offense because of him. So
Do you incorporate his smart splits?
absolutely, yep.
And okay, walk for those coaches that don't know, walk us through that, because I think that is really, really, really awesome if you can incorporate it in your offense for any offense.
So the best thing, the easiest way to explain it is we're going to have your double team. They're going to have the small splits, and then you're going to have your wider splits away from there. So, like, for instance, inside veer for us on against an odd front, we're going to double the nose to the backside backer. So our center and guard are going to have maybe a 6-inch split. But our tackle, his job is to get as far away from that guard as he can, but he still needs to be able to get that backer if he blitzes, the play side backer. So if he's a smaller, faster kid, he might have a 4 foot split. If he's a little bit bigger, slower kid, he might have a 2 to 3 foot split. But we leave it up to our players and their abilities. So every year it changes for us.
Okay, and
So,
I do like that, and
and
I
then
need to try to get
backside,
Tony on because I have his books. I freaking love them, and that's great. What's like the most extreme split you've seen when your kids get it?
so I always like to post it for coaches. We had games where we had 6 yard splits. We had two because I knew we were outmatched. And the first time we tried it, it took them a full entire half to figure out how to stop it. It was against the back-to-back state champ in California. We rushed for 440 yards and 12 yards of carry and only lost by 9 points. So, but it took them a full half. Like, I'm like, dude, we need run lanes here, and you guys shorten them up. It does not help us. We need you to get in the kids' way, and we need that. So yeah, we're usually hash mark to hash mark if we can be.
And see, that's what a lot of coaches ask me as we run the air raid. Do you really use the 3-foot splits? And I'm saying yes. And they go, I don't understand how that works. And I tell them that 3 technique is always going to be a 3 technique. He's just looking for the guard. So if that guard keeps widening, he's still going to be on the outside shoulder of the guard until they adjust. And I'm sure when against y'all, their adjustment was to shoot the gaps, and you had a contingency plan, something that if they do that, then we're going to do this. What was that?
Sweep, get outside of it. Just let them crash in, think that is coming inside, and then just hit them outside. So that's basically the whole entire thing. Why sweep is so important and counter to this offense for us is they go ahead and bring 9 guys in the box, and we're just going to pick on the 2 guys that are on the outside. So
I like that. It's a map game.
Simple.
Now you have film, correct?
Yep, I have. Yeah, I don't have great huddle film. What I ended up having to do, because we lost all of our huddle stuff, is I had a coach that was nice enough, and he cut up our whole entire 1 year highlight film. So I have like 80 some plays.
That's fine. Let's see some film. There we go. If you can just make that a little bit bigger. And coaches, if you have any questions, again, if you're too bashful, which I know you shouldn't be, but if you are, go ahead and put them in chat. If you want to come on and call in and have your question live on the air, go ahead. I am dropping the you can see the comment down right there where it says want to join live. You just type that into your browser, and then boom, you are live on the air. And we're going to see some. I want to see your sweep, because this sweep intrigues me. I've been doing a lot of sweeps, or diving into the jet sweep, the rocket sweep, and there's just something about that I love.
It's not allowing me to make any adjustments on here.
Are you able to go to the tab?
Not from this screen for some reason.
Well, if you want, you can get off of it. Like I'll remove it, or you can close it out, and then you can do it again.
I'd have to. There we go.
Okay, you got it.
That's good.
This is the beautiful thing about being live, coaches.
Yeah. Does it say it says, do I need to stop the thing up here?
It shouldn't. If you go to the tab, you should be able to see. Just go to your huddle tab.
Yeah, it's not letting me bring up my tabs.
Okay.
That's Chrome.
Well, then I'll just kick this. Oh, I accidentally kicked him out, coaches. That's what happens. That's what we're doing right now. Let me bring him back. And while we're doing that, is there anyone in the chat that's watching this that actually runs the flex bone or the option? I still can't believe my dumb ass kicked him out. That's crazy. Tony, what's going on? You just missed it. I accidentally kicked Coach out of the chat because I thought I was getting rid of the tab that he was going to show the film on. God, I'm a moron. So we're getting him back in here right now. But I do like that. To me, it seems like the option, if you were bringing people into the option, they don't want to go flexbone anymore, especially with Coastal Carolina. Yeah, I really do hate option guys. I'm like, you know what? Get them out of here. I can't stand the option. But it seems like the option coaches now, they're adjusting, just like the spread coaches were. How they wanted to go spread, to spread the defense out and everything like that. Option coaches, it seems like, are going, you know what? Those guys might have been onto something. Because if you look at the New Mexico State, when they were really good, they went shotgun and they were doing things like that. Coastal Carolina this year, they went shotgun, and it opens things up because now for some reason it's still teams are like defensive coordinators. If it's shotgun, I think they're going to pass the ball. And when that happens, you're able to do a couple of different things. And I've been diving into Coastal just a little bit. Again, you know how I am. When I'm in the off season, I look at the run for some reason because I'm a stupid idiot and I just want to do the runs. I liked what Coastal was doing. It was fun. It was intriguing, and it was something new. And I think what the newness was, it was from the shotgun. Now, the only thing that worries me just a little bit, and this is from what happened with me this year, quarterback gets hurt. That's something a lot of people don't talk about, and I'm going to ask Coach when he gets back on here. When you're running the air raid or you're running a spread type offense like that, they're always like, what happens if your quarterback goes down? What happens if he gets hurt? What if this happens? And no one seems to ask that for the flex bone. No one gets worried about that. No one questions it. It's just like, oh, that's what you do? Great. You can plug and play and you can keep on going. I want to know why that's different. And if y'all have an answer for that, if you go and you know what, Coach, this is why it is actually this different, put it in the comments below while I talk to him. Can you get back on? Didn't mean to do that. Because there's something a lot of option coaches don't talk about. So let's see. Same here, Coach. I went into a split back veer research. I do like split back veer. And that's the thing. Oh, there we go. Coach, sorry about that. I thought I was kicking off the tab that was happening, not the full-fledged.
All right, I'm up and running here. Can you see my screen?
No, it's not shared yet.
Oh, okay. Let me pause this. And then let me go back here.
And while you're doing that, I wanted to bring something up. I was talking about this when you were off. A lot of people or coaches say we can't throw the ball or anything like that because what happens if the quarterback gets hurt? Do you face that same kind of criticism when you run the option?
No.
And okay, so why do you think that is? Why do you think, when teams are pass heavy, it's all what if the quarterback goes down or anything like that? But the option, to me, you got to have a trigger man as well. They're kind of, to me, the option this is the same as the air raid. The only difference is the air raid is passing the ball down the field and the option is pitching it behind, but you're still getting guys involved. You're still utilizing space.
Yep.
You're still doing a lot of things, but the air raid is like, I can't do it because I don't have a quarterback. I know a lot of teams that don't have quarterbacks when they run the triple option, but that's not one of the criticisms that get hurled at it. Why do you think that is?
Well, for me, honestly, there's always a possibility of your quarterback getting hurt, no matter what offense you run, to be honest with you. So, that's kind of the way I answer that and answer the criticism. Like, for instance, this year we're going to watch this film. Our starting quarterback wasn't that great. We ended up putting the backup in, and he did really well, and he got injured, and we started out 4-0 and lost the last 6. So, and turnovers were an issue. But if you're an air raid team, your quarterback gets sacked, he goes down. It's the same.
Yeah,
injuries happen. So you can't win when it comes to an injury. There's no winners in that.
No, and also, and this made me think about it. Even NFL coaches with $400 million quarterbacks back there still run their quarterback and risk the injury with Kansas City.
Yep.
Mahomes, I was like, oh God, he's out, and they still come back because Andy Reid and all of them are freaking geniuses. But
yeah,
all right, so we've got the film up. There we go. There we go. All right, so walk us through this. What are we looking at?
Okay, this one's going to say midline here. So, and the nice thing is too, is DNs, what are they doing in high school? What are they taught? They're going to come up fields thinking you're in gun, pass rush, and then so it's an easy kick-out block for that, for your tackle.
Okay, so you're the blue, because for a second there I was like, what am I looking at? So you're the blue. All right, gotcha.
So here you go. Here's going to be a 5-1, and we're going to run outside Veer here because we're washing down that guy. Pitch. Your dive key is going to be that end line player right there. Even that, he kind of just, when he kind of just stood there and kind of came up halfway, that's a give. The only time it's really a pull is if they're going to tackle, and you'll definitely see that on here. You'll see definitely some really good pulls. So now here's just going to be sweep. We're in a 2-back. See, we found with our Ys this season that it was better for them to be 1-by-1 off the line, because what it did is it seemed like it invited those DNs and those outside linebackers to want to shoot that gap, and it made them wash them right down. They thought that they could shoot inside there and kind of cheat, and then it ends up just taking themselves out of the play. So that was a little tidbit thing that we found.
Now, is this the jet sweep or is this a rocket sweep?
You'd have to tell me what the difference is.
To me, jet is he's coming in front of the quarterback.
Okay.
Rocket, he's going behind the quarterback.
Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah. No, we're always in front with our sweeps.
All right. Why is that? Because that kind of breaks the rule, because I know under center they like the rocket a lot in the flex bone and stuff like that. Why'd you decide to go in the front?
Because we're going to run cheat off of it, which I got from the Minnesota Gophers. So we're going to pull the guard and the quarterback's going to shuffle, and then read that end lineman for that. And then we also run Uno, where we're going to read the 0 or the 1 or the backside 1 technique, and read on our sweep too, which I have some cut ups of that on here too.
Oh, I like that. So kind of okay.
And basically the difference between the two, we like cheat versus an even front, and we like the Uno, which is basically just a midline sweep option. We like that versus an odd front. It helps out with those big nose guards. So,
yes, it does, because those big boys have no idea what to do when they're all of a sudden unblocked. They kind of just freeze there.
Exactly. So those are the 3 plays. So they don't know which one's coming. So that's why we have three same motion, 3 different sweep plays.
Okay. I like that. See, that's what I've been researching, the jet sweep. It's been between the jet and the rocket. I really like the jet.
So this is going to be, this will be midline here. And see how it's nice about being a gun. It gives that quarterback time to make that read. And then he's supposed to run. This is something we harp on our kids. And this is, again, kind of like a safety type thing. And it's also, if you want to score touchdowns, we really work on running hash marks, the numbers, the sideline is what we tell our runners. And it's going to set up those wide receivers blocks better too.
Hash number sidelines, baby. Never go inside because that's where everybody is.
So here's the end zone view, which I absolutely love. This is the only view I watch as an O-line coach and as a run coordinator. You can see how easy, you're going to leave that 2 technique alone, or it looks like he's in a 3 right there. And he just comes in there, quarterback pulls it, and we're gone.
Yeah,
and
that's very big. That's the smart play, the smart splits in action right there.
Yep. And that's just an easy. So this should be, let's be inside Veer with a twirl motion here. So now we're going to leave 2 defenders. No, this one is marked wrong. That's definitely outside Veer because only left the end guy alone there. And we love our outside Veer against a 3 technique. It's probably, I mean, 1 is ideal, but 3 is even better because, again, our rules is we're not like a gap team, so we're not like midlines A, inside Veers, like that. So, for us, outside Veers, we're going to block the number 1 and we're reading 2. So,
how do you go in there thinking I'm going to run inside Veer all game and then adjust to that? Or do you have scripted plays like, okay, first play, we're going to run inside Veer, then we're going to run outside, then we're going to run speed. What's your game calling like when you do this?
So I've actually never been the OC. My head coach does all the game calling, so he'd be better to answer that. But we have never scripted anything. Just because we, like you said, option teams, what coverage you're gonna get here right now. You can see where they're definitely in coverage 1 because the safety's reading, but the corners are out there locked man to man. So for us, it's just to see where they line up, and we might end up having the audible to outside Veer a lot if they're just going to sit, because what we found out there, especially, instead of like having your guys teaching kids that you really eagle or crash or pinch really hard. So instead of taking a 5 and having them crash down, they'll just line them up in a 3. Well, great. Now you just made our lives a lot easier for our kids because they know the rules for a 3 technique and they know the rules for a 5 technique.
So you're giving your quarterback so you come up there and you just give him a play and then he has to make the correct call, or are you just saying, hey, I want to run option and just look at where the defense is and then make the call off of that?
No, he definitely calls like midline or inside Veer or outside Veer. He's very, or sweep, it's always called ahead of the time. And I've actually been very blessed. We've actually had a couple of our centers actually tell the quarterback what to audible to, and then we'll call out. For us, our line call is poison, 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 and he'll call out poison on every single play and point out who we're not blocking. So
I love centers. Centers are usually the smartest people on the team. So when you get like a center that's smart, that loves the offense and can make the calls, it makes your life as a play caller a hell of a lot easier.
Yes.
Because he can tell you what's working, what's not. And if you actually trust your kids, which you should, because I mean, they're the ones playing, you can look like a freaking genius.
Yes. And we always, and again, too, you're probably the same with your players, but allowing your quarterback to audible and allowing your centers to look up there, it makes them own their offense. It makes them own it more and invest more into it because they're actually taking ownership of what they're doing and understanding football.
I agree.
So our counter is right now we're faking sweep, but if we're running Veer a lot that game too, we're also just make it look like we're running on Veer, but he's just going to put his foot in the ground and follow that guard. And sometimes we're outnumbered, but it doesn't matter because what our rule is we're going to make cover guys tackle. So if we're missing a corner out here or we don't have enough guy for the safety, well, we're fine with 1-on-1 and taking our 8 yards downfield. Our goal is 4 yards. So.
Okay, so you're saying on counter you only pull one person?
Yep, we're only pulling the backside guard.
Why is that? Because to me, when I'm thinking of counter, I'm bringing both the guard and the tackle wrapping around.
And that's counter train. And I'm never been a fan of pulling a tackle. And we've tried it. We ran dart a lot where you pull that backside tackle and read that. And it's just we've never had success with it. So our counter is just pulling the guard.
Is he pulling up to a linebacker? Or is he pulling to kick out?
Usually, depending on the defense, but 90% of the time, it's usually just a kick out.
So it's like a long trap type thing. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that works. I like it. Are you reading anybody on that? Your quarterback, or is it just straight up just give it?
Yep, straight up just give on that. See, our quick trap, I think we have some quick trap on here right now. Quick trap is triple option to us too. If we have a motion guy, if there's no motion, it's just double option. So if that back, so we're going to leave both tackles are going to go up the backers. They should be attacking backers. And so whatever side the back's on, then we're reading that side plate, that side defender. So, but most of the time it's a give. But we've had that a couple of times, and the quarterback actually scored a touchdown on it where he pulled it because that defender was in there so fast and tackled the running back, and whoop, he didn't have the ball. So,
well, okay. So, what percentage would you say your quarterback gives it compared to keeps it?
I actually don't have I don't have a stat on that. I've never broke down the film enough to actually look at that because for me, I'm more worried about, because I'm the O-line guy and the run coordinator. I worry about my O-line more than I worry about anything in the backfield or what the wide receivers do.
So how does that? Let's say your guys do it right, man. They block everybody up and everything like that, and your quarterback keeps making the wrong read.
He gets replaced.
You just bring somebody in that's like, you know what? There's not any like calls that you have that are like, okay, on this one, I just want you to give it. Because I know in the flex bonus, like if you're struggling, you go to the zone dive or something like that, where you just automatically hand it and everything else looks the same. You're saying that pretty much 90% of your offense, you're reading someone, and if you can't get it, you're just going to get someone else in there.
Yeah, he won't be, but we'll know that right away. Because like when I first started coaching out there, I was in June. We started practicing June, July, August. I mean, we had 3 months of practice, 4 days a week. So it's like, they're getting a lot of reps. We run veer drill every single day. So, and then that's where we get to teach the kids those cutback. We'll have a coach stand right where the center is, and he'll point left or right. And so he's got to make that cut. He's got to run right up that center, make that cut. So it's something that you're repping every single day.
Are your practices, and I'm just basing this on the air raid, are they structured like the kids know what to do? You don't even need a script per se, because they know, okay, we're going to this drill, then after this drill, we're going to this drill, after that drill, we're going to this one? Or is it every day something different, like it's a drill of the day or the week or anything like that?
Ours is pretty much very formatted. That we know we're going individual, we know we're going individual run, we know we're doing 7-on-7, we know we're doing team. So in that order every day.
So y'all have 7-on-7 even though you throw the ball only 20%?
Yep, because you got to work on it. Because if you're going to use it in a game, you better practice it during the week.
And how long is your 7-on-7? Is it just like 5 minutes? Do y'all do 15?
That gives us like 15 minutes. But what that helps for me is it gives me extra time with my linemen. So I take that time to actually go work on more pulls, running against this. We'll work on some of our pass blocking, which is very basic for us. But then that gives us time with extra time with my lineman, that extra 15 minutes. So.
And this is a truism for every offensive line coach. You can never get enough Indy.
Exactly. So yeah, when I first started coaching, my first 4 years, I job shadowed our offensive line coach because I knew that was the most important position on the team. So,
okay.
So
what is more important? Do you think? What rank them in your offense? Like, okay, if I need a center that's really smart, or do I need? If you had a first choice, like the guards, that's what if I have guards, I can make everything else work. Or tackles, like what's your criteria for your line? What are you looking for?
For me, really, if my priority is like what you said, center, definitely the center, because a smart center and a stout kid that doesn't have to ask for a lot of double teams really frees up our linemen, and it really allows our other guys that if they need help to do their double teams. If we can single that nose, that opens up so much. Then we can load that linebacker. We can just block everybody back, and it just makes life so much easier if you got a good center.
It does. It does. Nothing's worse than if you have a center that keeps getting blown up.
Yeah, exactly. That's
why doesn't matter what you do, what offense, you're just screwed.
That's why we brought in that's why when I saw actually I got the Uno play, I got that from Troy Calhoun that was at the coaching clinic from Air Force, and then they called it Falcon. And they were reading he's the one that taught me how to read the zero technique. So that's where I got that play from.
All right, so your sweep. What are your blocking rules on that? Are you basing the backside and everybody else is just basically dipping and ripping and going?
Yeah, basically it's a man over. Basic.
And that's it.
Basic sweep. Yep.
I like that because
I'm just trying to overtake the man next to you. So if we're going to the right, overtake the man to the right.
And that's simple.
Yeah. So here's midline. You can see that DN. What's he do? Just comes right up field, makes it easy tackle makes an easy block for our tackle. Yeah, here's the end zone view. So, I mean, there they are. They got two guys in that gap.
Makes it easy.
And there you go. And it gives you time, and that safety's got no chance.
And three techniques aren't used to being read.
No.
So you've got to put yourself in his shoes. Like defensive coordinators, they're not going to waste time teaching their three technique what to do, option responsibilities and things like that.
So I know we don't get to see this whole play, but here's a great point. So this kid, where should he be? He should be at the sideline. And you want to go get hurt and do stupid things? Look at this. I mean, bad things happen.
Yes, they do.
There's a ball right on the ground there. Now, if he would have been along the sideline and fumbled, no big deal. That's why we preach and harp hash marks, numbers, sideline. You see a 20-yard run, just go for nothing.
Because you wanted to cut back and get cute.
Yep.
I'm glad it's just not my kids that do that.
So here's going to be counter again.
Now, are y'all no huddle? Do you huddle? Do you sugar huddle?
We huddle every time.
All right.
So I don't know. This one's not labeled, so I'll have to see. Oh, that's because we actually threw the ball. We're just going to throw a 9 here.
Nice. That's what I like to see right there.
That's easy enough to do. I was going to bomb another 9 here.
And that's one of the good things. That's one of the things that I like about run first teams is the pass is a little bit easier because everyone's so geared up to stop the run.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a quarterback that can read that well when you got guys just wide open, you really don't have to read anything. It's just like, hey, just fart it out there and let them catch
it. Please put it out there and make it catchable.
Yeah. Don't get so excited you overshoot the guy.
Yeah. So here's be a counter coming at you again. Just kick that guy. And there you go. There's that flat player we can't account for. And we get our yards. So you don't have enough guys for that guy, but he's got to go make the tackle. And we still got our 4 yards. And it keeps those guys honest. It keeps them back there. It keeps them from cheating play side. So this is Veer Pass.
Walk me through that. What is it? Is it like he has the option of handing it off, or?
So this is the flood. So no, this is our play action pass.
Okay.
So this is our flood concept. We got a 9 with a speed out, which we call 6, and then the flare. So you got a little jammed up. There's the 6 coming underneath, which he gets it to him. Got it to him a little late, but it works.
Yes, it does, because everybody's worried about the option.
Yep. So this will just be sweep to the outside. Again, we're making cover guys tackle, and they don't do a very good job at it. So,
no, they don't. Good Lord.
So this will be outside veer. We're gonna leave that guy alone. So the tight ends should already be down. Now he's kind of lost here. This guy, he should be right here. He should be right on that guy right there, right now. But he does a good job downfield. And And then here's old school. We do when we get inside the 10, we like to go the old 2 tight end and go split back veer and do that for a 2-point plays too.
Now, okay, how does that come into play with the footwork? Do you have like a specific period in practice where you're working on just straight up under center footwork?
Yep. So, and this is the only play we have. So this is, to me, this is God's play. It's not A gap power to me outside veer. There's no better play. If they block it right, it's pretty much you're putting this guy out here, this flat player out on an island because he's just going to down block, down, and the quarterback makes the reads this guy. So, and then so he's just got to learn one set of footwork then, just for this one play. So we keep it simple.
Don't let the run the power guys hear you say that God's play is split back veer.
So this will just be counter coming back at you again. That one's actually not that good. Let's see. Oh, I'm not going to get the beginning of that. There's outside veer and he kept it.
How do you get the players to buy into this type of offense when they don't see it that much?
So the first year we did this, we had a really hard time. We actually had to call a players meeting and they had a tough time. And we basically told them like, hey, you guys like watching Oregon? Because we're out in California and they're like, yeah, we love watching Oregon. Well, I'm like, well, this is basically what they're doing. They're just doing it a lot faster. They're zone blocking it. We're just not calling it zone, but they're just reading the end defender. So once kids started seeing that, and then once they started like buying in, then it just took off. I mean, 4,100 yards rushing in 11 games was a lot of fun. So by the time
when did you see that turning point?
It took us about 4 weeks in. 4
Was
weeks.
it because they tasted success and they finally were like, oh, coaches actually know what they're talking about?
Yeah. Our running back, he ended up playing in the AAF league and the XFL and 4 years at Humboldt State and got a shot with the Niners for a week. But he was really good and really fast. And he's like, man, those holes are just huge, coach. And the year before Mac was there, but they just kind of ran their normal stuff. They were just ISO, power, toss, stuff like that. He just ran it out of a few formations. So when I got there, it was a full install of it. And the O-line never had an O-line coach. They're a Division III school, but we only had 3 varsity coaches with 50 kids. So it was definitely a lot of hands-on.
Yeah, because in California, they don't have that many coaches. It's like, correct. It's weird. They've got a ton of athletes and a lot of special schools and everything, but they don't treat football that well, I would say.
They don't treat coaches that well, because in Minnesota, in my school, we have 900 kids. We have 9 varsity coaches. Yeah. 9. We have 60 varsity players, and out there, they only had 2 teachers that were on staff that were coaches. The rest of them were all 9 to 5 guys that coached out there. Even like we went to Oakdale, where Colin Kaepernick's from, same thing. Wing T school only had 2 coaches that were full time there. So
yeah, that's I know a couple of coaches out there, and they're like, no, that's why a lot of them are leaving. Yeah, let's be honest. Everybody wants to go to Texas. That's why everybody. That's the football mecca right there. But I mean, even down here in South Carolina, we have a lot of coaches that are in the building. That helps because it does help. Coach says, I'm in California. You hit the nail on the head. Still trying to get a season in now. I know we were lucky to actually get our season in right before. We were there right before these astronomical numbers. So, and our numbers pale in comparison to what's going on in California. So we were very lucky. Coach Martin says you're awesome and he can listen to you all day. I agree. I do like the option as well. Thundercat, just reach out to me through Twitter or email me and I will get in touch with you with that because I do. Okay. So this isn't really a question, but Tony is researching the split back veer. Yep. I know you're huge in it. Could you point him in a direction like, hey, if you really want to dive into it, this is where you've got to go look?
You can go to the split back veer group on Facebook and watch my Zoom I did. couple weeks ago.
There you go. Look at that.
I
Boom.
talk for 2 hours on. I talk about the splits, the footwork for the quarterback, the aiming points for the running backs, the whole numbering system. I did it against a 5-2, a 4-4, a 5-3, and a 6-2. I drew it all up on there, so that'd be a good spot. There's books out there too, but
Okay, he was already on your call, so he's ahead of the curve. He's ahead of the curve. Yeah. So what books are you talking about that he
I've
should?
I've never had a book because I learned it on the field as a player. So that's I've never looked at a Veer book before in my life, actually.
Never.
Never.
Have you ever looked at the Houston Veer, like the legit playbook of it?
I've seen it on Facebook, but I've never opened it up.
It's so simple, man. Like I've read it. It's like it's one of those offenses that I know that it seems very simple, and in my mind, I think of remember the Titans. All I need is 6 plays. It's like Novocaine will actually work, but there's a lot of intricate things you have to do within it to make it perfect. I mean, if it wasn't good, De La Salle wouldn't be running it and winning all those freaking games.
Correct.
Over and over. So what? And this is my ignorance. What is the difference between the split back veer and the flex bone? Besides the formation, is the way you teach the option different, or is
the aiming points for the running back for me? Being lined up behind the guard and lining up from behind the quarterback, your aiming points are a lot different.
How?
Because like for me, like I know inside veer, like it's really hard to be behind the quarterback and run outside veer to a 5 technique. You know what I mean? Like you can run outside veer out of split back against a 5 technique. You have a really hard time getting there as a quarterback and a running back, getting there on outside veer with flex bone. So
the split back actually hits quicker. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, definitely it does. I can't bring up film on here, but I have all my highlight films and I can show you because I have 4 years of split back and I have 2 years of flex bone, and there's a big difference. And with flex bone, you're more of a midline, definitely more of a midline. But some teams are more of a mid triple. That's their play, which is basically our inside. That's my inside veer is basically mid triple. So,
and mid triple is when we read the 3 and the 5. Is that?
Yep.
Okay.
But for me, it can be the 2 and the 4 technique. We'll read both those guys. We'll go load. We call it load the linebacker. And we'll leave both those guys alone and still get the playoffs. So,
why do you think coaches decide to go to the flex bone against the split back veer?
Personnel, big time, because you got to have tight ends to me to be a really good good split back veer team. You have to have tight ends, and we didn't. Our kids got really small. Like when I got there, I was probably going to be like the 5th biggest kid on the team at 170 pounds. We didn't have a tight end. We didn't have anybody to smoke the double teams with. So we basically taught our kids to do like 3-point almost barrel crawls, our linemen, and we just got small. And then toss. You don't have a great toss out of split back, but you have a really good toss out of flex bone, which sets up some of our best play action passes too.
Now you say tight ends. I know you use one. Where does that tight end line up or practice with most? Is he with the wide receivers? Is he with the OL? Does he split time? And if so, how much time is with either?
So in split back, he's 100% with the lineman. All he's got to know is 3 routes: a seam, drag, and what do we call it? We called it a turkey, where he basically blocks 1-2 and releases to the flat. That's what we called it. But for us, he definitely splits time on a gun. He's because he's gonna run the whole route tree. He's gonna block. You'll see on some of these, he's gonna get the ball because we're gonna run wing counter with him. So, yeah,
that kid has to be special then, right?
Yeah, we've been lucky. We've always had a good one. So,
what happens if you don't? Do you still run your same stuff, or do you just get like an extra guard and just say, "Hey, listen, we
We do
may
have a
throw you a bone every once in a while."
Yeah, we do have a ton package. We'll bring an extra tackle in if we need to.
What do you call it? A ton?
Ton. Bring ton for tackle. Bring it in the pounds.
Yeah, I thought you just said ton because another fatty.
Yeah. So I don't know what I haven't seen the end result of this play, but we do have two things. So if the quarterback has a brain fart and doesn't know what to do, we just tell him to give it.
Okay.
If he's got any, and then if our lineman has a brain fart, we always just tell him to just block the man on. So that way, if the quarterback, the rule is that I should say that's the rule for the quarterback. So if the read man's blocked, hand it off, and we'll live to see another down. And if you're a lineman and you forget who not to block, if you miss the poison call or you miss the play totally, just block the man on, because we're not going to get a 3-4 yard loss. We'll probably get a 0 yard gain, but we're not moving back, and we shouldn't lose anything if those two things happen. So those are two false things that we put in place for our guys.
All right. So it's like when in doubt, hand it out.
Exactly. And that way, if we gain 0 yards, we live to see another down. Nothing bad happens. Yep.
I love it. And that's, you're absolutely right. You got to have those contingencies built into the offense just in case they get confused.
Yeah. That's what I was looking for. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, right here, man. Right here.
So that was just inside veer, which would be the flex bone. Mid triple. So here'll be uno now. You'll clearly see that Noah's tried running in there, and he can't get there. But the quarterback definitely could have kept it on that.
That was a nice. Good Lord, that was a nice cut.
Okay, here we go. This might be able to show me the blocking here. So yeah, we definitely got a nose in there. So the center should block back to that backer. The guard should have that guy man on, and the tackle should have kick out his guy. And then these guys, the front guys, then are going to block for sweep. So the backside guys are blocking for the quarterback, and the front side guys are blocking for sweep. So it should give you a good view of it. And see, he's just slow off the ball, and that backer sat there, and that just set it up really nice for us. So yeah, he's going to score, but am I happy about that run? No, because he cut it back into where all those defenders should have been.
But that's a angry that you can live with, because I tell my kids, if you mess up, if you do what we tell you not to do, you better damn score.
Yeah,
because that's exactly. If you mess up scoring, because I don't want to have to. It's kind of like that. Great job, but you really messed up.
Yeah. So this, I should say too. So we went 4-6 this year. We won our first 4, lost our last 6. These guys were juniors because it was a brand spanking new high school. So our first year we didn't even have a varsity schedule. We had a JV schedule. And then the following year with these same group of kids, they went 9-1, and they hosted and won a playoff game.
Nice.
So they definitely got better, and they definitely bought in. But both years we rushed for just over 3,000 yards, and we averaged right around 7 yards both years. So very consistent.
And like any new system, you have to have a year in it so you can actually get it.
Yeah. Yeah. And these kids, so yeah, their senior year was phenomenal. But that's the kind of nitpicking stuff I would do. I'm like, yeah, you're a good team, but if you want to be a great team and your goal is to win a playoff game, then you got to follow these rules. And see there, again, he shouldn't have cut that up. If he would have stayed outside, he would have already been outside because that block was set up for him.
He ran over his own guy.
So this is not, there's no pitch, guys, so we can't be running. This is midline here. So again, you're going to, oh, it is inside here. We just didn't have a pitch guy. We got really lucky on this that it was a give read.
Sometimes, that's how it works.
See how we had both defenders there left alone? We had the 1 and the 2 both left alone. That shouldn't have happened. So, but so yeah, I mean, and then so here's a 3 technique with this is what bear front, guys. So actually, what's nice about a bear front is if we were running outside veer, we'd double that 3, and those guys, they would double that 3 to that backside backer, and that tight end can come down on the play side backer. So you got great blocking angles. You got double team at a point of attack, and you got great blocking angles back. So
Bear doesn't give you any problems.
no, I love bear. Everybody coaches like, oh, we got the bear. Well, good for you because and then so now if we are running inside bear, which I don't know what the heck they did here. This is a total cluster. Because if it was inside veer, because they did leave the 1 and 2 alone, they should be doubling the center and the play side guard should be doubling this nose to the backside backer. And these guys look like they're doing right on the backside. They're fanning. We call that fanning, blocking back their guys. And we should be all right, but they definitely didn't know. But like I said, thank goodness it was a give read and just hand it off. And so here you go
again. It is. God's play.
Outside veer, stand up, touchdown, didn't even touch him.
I do like that play. I really do. And Tony, I'm with you, man. I freaking love that. Does a coach wants to know, I love these YouTube names. Does a 3-3 stack cause you any issues?
It does, but the disclaimer on that is I've seen it 2 times in 7 years. So I don't know if we have a drawing program. It's really simple, our blocking for it, but we don't get to practice it enough. And that's what this team, when they end up losing the playoff game, they lost a 3-3 stack. They were just not ready for it at all. And they just sat back, and you cannot catch if you're going against a 3-3 stack. As much as they want to attack you, you need to go attack them. So basically, for us, what you would do is the backside tackle and guard, you would double that 4 technique to the backer. Your center and guard should be doubling that nose to the backer, and then your tackle needs to release inside or outside, easiest route to get to that stack backer. And then we're basically just reading the 1 and the 2 or the 1, based on our call. So that's how we attack it, but we just don't get enough time to practice it because, like I said, we don't see it enough.
Why do you think you don't see it? Like, is it just even fronts in California or kind of?
It's yes. When I first watched film, I noticed a lot of 3-4 teams out there, and then the other thing I started seeing a lot of was 4-3 teams. Those were probably the top 2 that we saw most of the time. And see, here you go too. This team's been running a lot of 5-1 against us, or a 5-2, and they're trying to get 7 guys in the box.
What defensive front do you normally see a lot of? Is it just garbage stuff that they normally don't do, or is there a particular front you see a lot of teams try to use against you?
Yeah, they try to go bear, and they'll put all 5 of those guys down there. Like, see here, like he's running quick trap. If I was actually there in his ear, I'd be telling him run outside veer on this all day. You got a 3 technique there, like double that guy out of there. You got the tight end in the game. Like that should be just golden for you. But you got 5 guys inside 2 gaps. Why are you running in there?
Yeah, it's almost like, hey, if they're inside, run outside.
That's exactly it. So we'll see what happens here. But look at that.
I just don't understand why everybody does that.
So they got a great double team. Sucks those guys in. Yeah, they did a great job executing and getting in front of those guys. There's a kid that knows what he's doing. Look at that. See, look at the yards out there for you, kid. You get outside there. No, don't do that.
Better score, man. If you do that, you better score.
Just go out of bounds. See again there.
Well, Coach, if people want to get in touch with you to talk more about this, how can they get in touch with you?
Well, on Facebook, they can just add me. It's usually the way 90% of the time when I talk to the coaches, it's on there. I can put my email up if you want to do that.
Okay. Well, I just grabbed your Facebook.
Yeah, you can share that too if you want.
URL. There it is, right there.
Yeah, because that's usually the way I talk, and then I got all the play sheets on all these plays, and I can send it to them.
Okay.
I want to get. How do you skip plays here? Can you do that on here?
If you hit the square button again to undo the full screen, you can scroll down your playlist.
Yeah, let me sort through here because yes, because here we got some cheap plays. And then, yeah, and then we got some end zone ones. So yeah, let's do it like this because this would be a lot better. And I'll give you some shots instead of like seeing a bunch of counters and sweep, which keeps them honest. But
All right. So what is cheat to you? What is that?
okay, so that was wrong. So cheat. So the quarterback's gonna shuffle this way. We got this from the Minnesota Gophers. They called it cheat because it hits in the C gap. So we're gonna read this end guy down here. The backside guard pulls around. He takes 2 shuffle steps too, and he's gonna lead up on this quarterback. And so we're doubling back to that backside backer, that tackle. So this is what the Gophers ran with Marquise Gray, and we actually ran this in Minnesota as our primary run play, basically.
Okay. So this is, to me, this is the power read.
Yes, but our power read for us hits A gap, so we have to be able to have 2 different calls for that.
Gotcha. Okay.
So this
that makes sense.
C gap power read, and he kept it, and that was it's a great run.
It is, and that is actually something we're going to be doing this year.
Okay.
Which is going to be something.
So again, you can see him leading there.
Oh, violent. I like it.
So he's leading there. Quarterback does a great job pulling it.
All right. So are you telling he's got 2 shuffles, and on that second shuffle, he better be making his decision?
Correct. Yep.
All right. Now, do you have a mesh drill that you work on in practice for this? Is this part of your Veer type footwork that you're doing in practice every day to get the reps needed, or is this just something like, how do you practice this? Because I felt when we did this when I was a running back coach, we didn't have a period where we did this, so it was like some games it was on, some games it wasn't, and it wasn't because of the blocking for the OL. It was because the quarterback didn't have enough reps and practice to get good at it. So do you schedule this kind of read in practice, or how are you working on it to make sure that he does the reps so he always makes the right read?
Yeah, so and with this team here, and like I said, with only 3 coaches, the running backs and the quarterbacks practice together every day. And then if we had 2 quarterbacks, they would split between the wideouts and the runs, and then switch back and forth. And then the linemen are always off on their own, so they got plenty of time to run with their, like you said, the Veer drill, quick trap drill, cheat drill. Like it's all work to. We're gonna read this guy and we're gonna run this play. That way, they, like you said, they can get it down and get the timing down. You can see right now we're running it with 2 backs, but we'll also run it with the motion too, which is the way we ran it in Minnesota a lot with that motion guy, because it just so that guy gets coming full speed. So
I do like that. And it also causes a reaction from the defense. When they see motion, they have to do something.
Oh, yeah. So I'm just going to let these play through while we talk, because this will be a few counters here I saw. And we'd already seen most of these, but I saw right after that, this is the end zone view. Like I said, I just love that. That's the first thing he got for me. I think that's wing counter there. That one was.
Okay. We have a question from Coach Mark. Came to the chat late. That is fine. Welcome, Coach. But what is the QB declaring or calling play direction on line of scrimmage, or are you just calling it and they run it regardless?
Yeah. So, like you said, like he's getting into the chat late. So we have the built-in if and thens. So we're gonna call 14 Veer, which is an inside Veer. And if that defender happens to be in the A gap, we're gonna audible. We'll go through audible, and we'll call 16. And so we allow our quarterbacks to audible. So, but we are gonna call, because based on information, we only can motion certain ways. So we're gonna tell the kids the play direction. It very rarely changes. Like in Flexbone, when we ran midline to the 3 and outside Veer to the 1. So, and then we just call Veer, and then the quarterback just got up there and we'd call one way and he just orange it. Well, we don't really get that. We don't have that out of gun as much. So he's just going to full on audible to the play that we want, or that he wants.
And how do you teach your quarterback that? Is that a lot of film time? Is that a lot of on practice? how do you do that? Because I know a lot of coaches they resist giving their quarterback the ability to do that. And I was one of them until, COVID happened this year. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to get weird and just do that. But before then, like, how do you just say, hey, coach, trust me, this is the best way to do it. And this is how you do it.
So veer drill again. We're going to put them in. We're going to put that first defender in a 1 or a 2-eye or a 2 or whatever. We're going to move him around or move that second guy around. And then the coach is just going to call, hey, we're going to run 10 midline. Coach, I can't run that play. Well, what do you do then? You audible. So we work it right into our veer drill practice. So that way they're having to work on the play call. And understanding the play call. They're having to work on where the 1 is and where the 2 is, and then work on their reads. So it's all in one drill.
Okay. I like that. Everything's built in. And there you go, coach. And there's your answer.
And like you said, though, that's why we do that too, because then the coach he'll mess with them. He'll be like, and the kid will like run the play. Like, what are you doing? I'm running midline. You call midline. There's a defender in the A gap. Can we run it there? Oh no, I can't do that. Oh yeah, exactly. What do we? So when the more they hear it, the more they see it, the more they get it.
And how long would you say typically for the kid, or how many reps, how many practices before you see the quarterback actually grasping the concept and making the right calls?
A lot. In Minnesota, we only get 2 weeks. We only practice 1 day in the summer, a week. And then we get 2 weeks and we get a mini camp. And then, so a lot of what for us was just in the gym. In the winter before, we just put out cones and we just run and just work on the mesh and work on our aiming points and the footwork. So, it never stops. If you're doing this offense, it never stops. It's year round whenever you can fit it into your schedule. Like I said, gym works great with cones, just going on air because it's just snaps. You get to work on a lot of snaps that way with your center and all that stuff just comes together. So if they're not in a sport, we did winter speed and strength. So we were always working on it.
All right. Coach has another question. Do you find that teams are doing a lot of late shifts and slants or anything like that?
No, thank goodness. I haven't seen it yet in my 7 years of doing this.
So don't give anybody any ideas, okay?
Yeah,
if he does,
exactly.
Coach AJ's going to come and punch in the face.
That would make my linemen have to think, and if they're thinking, they're not playing. But that's always been my rule. So, no, we actually have never seen that, and it'd be interesting to see. The nice thing is about that though is, like I said, if the lineman, if he shifts, the lineman doesn't know what to do, he's going to block that guy. We're going to hand the ball off. We're going to probably gain a yard or two. But if they're a team that's going to do that, then the heck with that. We're just going to run sweep on you until you stop it. You can move those guys inside all you want.
That is true. And that's goes into the if-then play calling structure.
Exactly. And then the slanting thing, yes, they're always going to, they have to slant on this. They have to slant on this offense to stop it. But it just ends up being a pull read. So it's triple option. Like you asked me before, we never tell them. And it's always been my philosophy, and it's always been my head coach's philosophy. We never call it ahead of time, whether it's a pull or a give. To me, that's not triple option football. So he has to know how to read it.
And that's the same thing with, teams that actually want to throw the ball, but they're telling them, hey, we're calling this one pass play, but you're going to throw it to this one guy. It kind of defeats the purpose of doing that. You've got to be able to, A, you have to, as a coach, know it well enough to coach it up, and B, you have to give your players, you have to trust them.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to do that, you might as well just line up in the eye and just hand the ball off and take the thinking out of it.
Exactly. And that's exactly the way our pass game used to be back in my day, because it was terrible.
Well, if you're running the option that much, you can pretty much guarantee, hey, on this play, this guy's going to be wide open.
Yeah.
So just go ahead and throw it.
I'm just like I said, I'm just gonna let these play through because I know there's some really good end zone views coming up that are great, and you'll really get to see some really good midline view because everybody just can't figure out how we can run midline out of gun and hit it fast enough. And there's one of the midline views where they actually show the running back actually hits the cutback on midline. So
there is something about just being able to run straight up the middle.
that's one thing. That's one thing like that coach on Oregon, like with compared to his zone, it just hits north and south so quick.
I will say a lot of it, and we're talking about running teams, but if we're talking about the wing tee, my favorite play is the trap play when it hits so fast that everyone's worried about like the buck or something like that, and then there goes the fullback untouched for like 65 yards. It's just something that's like a punch in the nuts. We're like, dang, that was very nice.
That happens on one of these plays. We actually saw 6-2, and I guess he had adjusted at halftime and actually motioned our back out, and they're actually in cover 0. So actually the safety motions with our back, and it was a 6-2 with no safety, and we ran quick grab right up the gut untouched 60 yards.
You have the running back looking around like, what in the world? How am I so? Is there a flag anywhere? Did I mess up?
Yeah,
what's going on?
Like there was holding. My head coach remembered that he went ballistic. Take a run like that out of halftime.
David, you were right. Spread Veer, man.
So here's that twirl motion where he was lined up out here and he's going to go in and come back where he was. So that's that twirl motion that we got from Flexbone.
And I like that. And that's something I will never forget. We played a true Flexbone team. This is when I was a linebacker coach. And I knew it was going to happen. The moment I saw it on the sideline, I was up in the box. I saw that the offensive coaches picked up that we were slanting to we were stunting to the motion. Okay. And I went, guys, they're fixing to hit us with the twirl motion. We can't do this. We got to call it off. And everybody else on the staff was like, no, we're going to get them. We're going to get them. I was like, guys, I'm telling you, it's coming. They realize what we're doing. And I swear to God, the very next play, they did the twirl motion, and it was a 75-yard touchdown. And all he did was he handed the ball. I mean, it was one of those quick, those hot, the hell pitches where he just fakes dive and just pitches it out there. Nobody, because we just all ran to the motion. And I'm like, I don't know much, but I do know in the offense, they have that tell. If you do this to the motion, then we're just going to hit you with the twirl.
Exactly.
And that's the beautiful thing about systems, though, like the Flexbone, the option, the wing tee, the air raid. You have that if then built in. And I think a lot of young coaches now, they just want to create their own offense. Like, hey, I'm a savant. I can create, a brand new offense. And I always tell them, no, find the system that you like, dive into it, because those systems have answers. And that's what makes a good offensive coordinator, is if you have answers.
Yes.
And it's very difficult to do that if you're creating something from scratch, because you don't have a pool of knowledge that you can go toward online and ask, hey, AJ, I'm a Flexbone guy and I'm running this. And every time I do this, the defense does that. What's your answer? And you're a Flexbone guy and you're going, okay, that's easy. I've read against this. This is the then to that if. And it helps you.
Yep. That's why I always post my if and thens for coaches that want to copy it down and take screenshots or whatever. For our base 4 plays, which midline, inside veer, outside veer, and speed option, because that way, no matter what you call, you can't be wrong if the quarterback can see what's in front of them and read the first defender. So
yeah, it's the beautiful thing that I learned coming up studying Paul Johnson. Yeah, that man's a genius, because he called it. We give Mike Leach a lot of love for his little note card, but Paul was just calling it straight off his head. And just grabbing random dudes from the sideline and screaming it at them and then shoving them out there. I mean, that was just and then he had the old school headset.
Mm-hmm.
It looked like a 1980s, like he kept from Georgia Southern, that he was like, I'm just living with this. It's all decrepit and everything. I don't care. I may get tetanus, but I'm a G.
So speaking of Mike Leach, so because of Mike Leach, and I saw a thing on him, he said your best run play, you should have a play action, an RPO, a counter, and a boot. So we never had a boot pass. We do now because of that. And we never put in RPOs, and we're going to this year, but we never got that opportunity to yet out there. So that is something we are adding to our playbook. But you saw our counter, and you saw that we have play action pass. So
Do you do the boot that Tony DeMeo talks about, like the quick, and then if it's not there, then he boots to the other side?
no, that's what we used to do with the Gophers. No, ours is gonna be like we're gonna fake Veer, and we're gonna just boot. So basically, naked boot away, and then if you're wise away from there, he's gonna drag, and if he's with, he's gonna run a corner, and then your wide receiver is always gonna run a fade comeback for us and a backside post. So basically, the Y is going to have two different ones. Either if he's with it, if he's on the play call, or away from it, he's going to have two different routes. Everybody else is the same.
All right.
So you either got a fade comeback or a backside post.
Okay.
And then we're going to let that motion back on that flare. We're going to hit him on a throwback. That's the little wrinkle out of it. So let's let him turn that
wide open.
Yeah, turn that in. Basically, we're telling me, don't worry about getting upfield. Get wide away from the defense. We're just going to lob it out there to you. Run for 60. So,
okay.
So,
Coach, I appreciate you doing this, man. I have work tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah.
I could talk about this. We're going to have to do this again on the weekend where, I can sleep in, because there's something with the off season, and I just dive into run game stuff. I don't know why. I'm really weird about that, and I love the option. So I appreciate you coming on, man, and talking ball and everything like that with us. And again, coaches, if you want to get in touch with them, I think hopefully here is his Facebook. Go there. And guys, listen, with Facebook, you've got to do this. I know a lot of people don't want to get onto it. Use it for football. That's it.
That's what
you're not going to change anybody's mind on politics or anything like that. I use it strictly for football. And the moment I see something politics, I just unfriend. It's that simple. You've got to curate it. And I follow Coach because he posts some good stuff about the flex bone and the option. And you're right, Coach. I do like the split back veer. It just hits so fast.
So I will say I do have a YouTube channel, Gun Spread Option Football. And I do have a Facebook page, this Gun Spread Option Football, just for football.
Gun Spread Option Football.
Yep,
Let me bring that up, and I will drop that.
And if you look it up on YouTube, just type in GSOF. That's what I just simplified it on there. And then like Veer's got like 380 hits. Like a lot of guys are interested in my Veer out of gun. So
okay. I just see your name on. Is that the one?
But
I just see your. I'm just going to drop that one. GSOF Veer.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, I should bring it up.
Okay, so here we go, coaches.
I do want to show you this really quick, just because like here's a 6'2", so you got 4 guys and we got 2. But with inside Veer, you can read, you block it like outside Veer against a 4-2. And then you're pitching out that number 2 guy out on the flat player. So we're running twirl here. So even though we only got 5 in the box, 2 to a play side and against 4, we still have the numbers.
And that's the beautiful thing about the option, because you're always eliminating 2.
Yeah. Yep.
So it's always a numbers game. And kids look at me like, I tell them football is nothing but math and angles and everything like that. And they think I'm crazy. And I'm like, no. And then I always bring up the option where you can always eliminate 2 and you always got the advantage.
Yep. We always say, like, guys are like, how do you average their runs for so many yards? I'm like, well, we're reading the first level defenders. We take our little linemen and block the little linebackers. We block the level 2 guys and we make cover guys tackle. So cover guys don't like to tackle, not all of them. Some of them do it very well, but they're usually, if they're there to cover guys and to cover ground, not to tackle big running backs.
You're right. Yeah, if they were any good, if they like to tackle, they would be in the box, not on the outside.
They'd be at linebacker smacking some people up.
All right. Well, Coach, I appreciate it, man. This was a
All right.
blast.
So how do I go? I can just click over here back to you.
Yeah. And coaches, thank y'all so much for being here. I'm a little disappointed that no one wanted to jump on and ask questions. You were talking. We will try this again. I want to start a call-in show. This was your chance. We'll try it again next Thursday. And Coach, again, if you want to follow his stuff, the YouTube's in there, the Facebook's in there. If you come back and watch the replay, which you should, it will also be in the description. Anything else before we go, Coach, that you want to talk about?
No, just thanks for having me. I was so looking forward to being on your show. I love your stuff.
Oh, stop it. And side note, I don't know if y'all know this. You probably don't. Coach and I, kids are almost, it's eerily similar. He's got a 5-year-old girl named Aria. I have a 5-year-old girl named Aria. He has a 2-year-old boy that's connected to his hip. I have a 2-year-old boy that's connected to my hip. It's unbelievable. The only thing that's missing between the both of us is I have a beard and you don't. That's it.
Well, I shave mine off. That mask, I can't do it at work. I work in heat treat. It's even winters 2 above right now. It's 90 degrees in my factory.
I understand. See, you've got the chin for it in the face. See, I don't, so I'm trying to hide mine and everything like that. That's the thing. Well, coaches, thank y'all so much. I will talk to y'all later, and y'all be safe.